Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museums will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
All right. Welcome back. MisFitNation. We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their story to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share some of your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you're a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and share how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you're a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and just share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or are embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you're a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast apps and also on our YouTube channel at @_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date with our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show. All right. We're back after a long weekend covering NASCAR for Heroes Media Group in Nashville. great time there. Thank you, Heroes Media Group, for hooking us up with press credentials and let us do the media thing from the opposite side there. It was a totally different experience, but I think everyone on the crew loved it, and we're ready to do it again next year. About Face Radio, thanks for covering for me for my live shows for the last couple of weeks due to travel and, of course, the race. And, brothers, thank you for everything you do for us. So without further ado, let's get to our next guest. He is an entrepreneur, author, speaker, who has built a successful career by focusing on hard work, perseverance, and innovation. He is the co-founder and CEO of GreenPal, an online platform that connects homeowners with lawn care professionals. Under his leadership, GreenPal has grown into a multi-million-dollar company with over 200,000 active users and has been featured in publications like Forbes, INC, Period, and Entrepreneur. So without further ado, let's welcome Bryan Clayton to the Misfit Nation. Welcome, Bryan.
Rich, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's awesome. Like you said in our quick pre-show there, it's awesome to connect with people and connect with people that, otherwise I would never connect with. I would never see you, never get to talk to you. And when I seen your tagline, the Uber for lawn care, I said, I got to get this guy on here because, that's just an awesome tagline there. And I'm so glad you're here. I gave a little blurb about you being, I guess you're like a serial entrepreneur along the way too. So if you can tell the audience a little more about you from as far back as you want to go to how you came up with GreenPal, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So thanks again for having me on. And like you mentioned, I'm CEO of GreenPal, an app that is the Uber for lawn care services. If you're a homeowner and need to get a lawn mowing service, rather than calling around on Craigslist or something, you just download GreenPal, pop your address in. You get quotes from guys and gals in the lawn mowing business that are in your neighborhood and they want to do your lawn mowing for you. You get pricing and you can just hire them right through the app. Also, it's an easy way for you to run a lawn mowing business. If you're in the lawn mowing business and you make your living cutting grass, it's a great way to get your first 20, 30, 50, 100 customers, kind of like a business in your pocket almost. So we have two customers, consumers and lawn care professionals. And GreenPal is a 10-year overnight success. My two co-founders and I have been at the business for a little over a decade. And now we're nationwide in the United States. Started off in Nashville, Tennessee, spent 3-4 years just in Nashville, but slowly expanded the business city by city. Now we have over 300,000 customers using the app every week to get their grass cut. Before GreenPal, I actually had a landscaping business. I ran a lawn mowing business for 15 years. I was actually I was forced into the lawn mowing business by my father on a hot summer day in 1995. He got tired of watching me play Nintendo every day, and he said, "Hey, get off your ass! I got a gig for you. You're going to go mow the neighbor's yard." And he was a former military guy, a retired major from the 101st Airborne in Clarksville. And so it was kind of like a military household. This was a direct order, and he made me go mow the neighbor's yard. Luckily, he did that because something just clicked with me. I thought I got paid $20 for an hour's worth of work, and I thought this is amazing. I'm just going to do this, and I built that little lawn mowing business over a 15-year period of time to 150 employees, a little over 8 figures a year in revenue, and then in 2013 it was acquired by a national company. So spent 22 years in this industry, seen it from the blue collar side and now the tech side.
Wow. And you're right down the block from where we are. We're in Clarksville ourselves.
Nice.
So I retired at 101st as well.
Nice.
Does the app work up here in Clarksville as well, or is it just outside of Nashville area?
No. So that we got started in towns the size of Clarksville. It was too big of a task to get like a Nashville or an Atlanta or a Tampa or a Louisville going. We had to make it work in smaller towns first and figure out how to get the flywheel of buyers and sellers going in towns with 100,000, 200,000 people, and then we could figure out how to make it work in cities with 1 million plus. So we're in every city in the United States. If you've got over 20,000 people living in your town, you can use GreenPal.
Wow, that's awesome. And you've seen great growth. You said overnight 10-year success, but that's a Nashville story. It's a 10-year town to get that success level in Nashville for the musician.
That's right.
You did that with basically the Uber for lawn care here. So what strategies did you use to actually acquire your first, your first 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a video game in a sense. You work one level at a time and you don't worry about anything else other than the level you're on. And so I think a lot of new business owners, they might be worried about Mike Tyson, but they're really on fighting Glass Joe. You really you really need to focus on one level at a time. And that's kind of, as much as I didn't want to in the early days, we passed out flyers all over Nashville, and all over towns like Hermitage and Mount Juliet and Franklin and Brentwood and Bellevue, to try to get people to use our app. And we must have passed out maybe 300,000 or 400,000 of these things over the course of an entire summer. And that first year, we were able to get our first 100 customers, and we were able to then understand where we were letting them down, what they wished the app would do that it didn't do, what did they expect would happen when they pushed this button versus what actually happened, and slowly but surely build a product that was better than doing it the old way. And that took a while. That took a couple of years. But as time went on, we were able to then figure out, okay, well, how do we reach people digitally? How do we meet them where they're at? How do they normally get a lawn mowing service? And what we came to find out was a lot of people just go to Google and Google lawn mowing service, Clarksville, Tennessee, or lawn care service nearby me. And we began to position our website in the high rankings in Google. And that took a lot of work through trial and error. But now that's how we get over half the people that use our product. And the other half come from word of mouth. Every day we get 2,000 or 3,000 people sign up a day, and most of them come from people looking for a lawn care service nearby them.
Wow. So you put in the hard work and effort. I love that you brought up Glass Joe. Kind of age yourself there a little bit. About Glass Joe and Mike Tyson in video game Punch Out there. Glass Joe was the easiest fighter on there to fight, although some people did lose to him.
I sure did.
Most people lost the first couple fights to him while he laughed at you, and then you moved on to the next couple dudes to fight them. How did you start your pricing strategy for it to be competitive with those other lawn care services that were just getting searched on Google?
Yeah. So coming to the starting block of starting this business, I came with like a contractor mindset. I'd spent 15 years running a landscaping service. And so I kind of started it with a contractor's perspective. And one thing, any contractor listening to this can empathize with is that you get this mentality that builds up where you think that everybody is just after the cheapest price. And you're like, that's all customers care about. They just want the cheapest way to get it done, and so on. And so that's what I thought we were building GreenPal for. I thought, okay, we're going to set this up where you get 5 quotes in 20 minutes or 5 minutes, and then you can pick the cheapest service. And as time went on and we were talking to our customers, what we came to find out was they weren't using GreenPal to save $5 a lawn mowing. They were using it because they just wanted a reliable solution to the problem. They actually just wanted a lawn service to show up on Thursday when it was supposed to show up on Thursday. And the problem that we were actually solving was not the cheapest way to get the grass cut. It was like solving the problem of the disappearing lawn guy was the problem we were solving. And so I made a mistake in the early days of positioning ourselves and positioning the advertising and all of the copy and the words we used as being the cheapest way to get a lawn mowing, because that's how I thought we would move people to our solution. But as time went on, we began to understand, no, we're the most reliable way. You can jump on there, get quotes, and hire somebody for tomorrow, and they actually show up tomorrow. And as crazy as that sounds, that's the problem we solve, because a lot of times if you're doing this the old way, you might call somebody off of Facebook or a Google search or Craigslist or Angie's List or something, and you'll leave a bunch of voicemails, and maybe you'll get a quote, maybe you'll hire somebody, and in about half the time they might show up. And And that's the problem we solve as a platform. So in terms of pricing, we knew we just needed to be in the market, you know, $35, $40, $50 lawn mowing. We just needed to be there in terms of the pricing we were delivering, but we didn't need to be the cheapest. And still to this day, we're not the cheapest way to get it done.
That's a consistency with lawn care or landscaping is a big headache for a lot of people. Right now I'm waiting 2.5 months for a landscaper to come work on my property, and its communication is horrible. The only thing it's done is killed some of my grass and right now, and so it's just giving the headaches in the house. Like you said there, when they get on your platform, they want a lawn care professional to be there on X day, and if they come the next day, that's a success. It doesn't matter the price, and that's what most people are looking for, and not to have weeds get put in their yard by another lawn, by someone else's lawn not being taken care of. So that's a great thing to have and a great service to provide.
It took a while for us to figure that out, and the only way we could figure it out was to stay in the Glass Joe level until we figured it out, and not try to scale to 3 or 4 levels into the game when we didn't know what our value proposition was. And I think that's what messes up a lot of new founders and new businesses is they try to scale it and spend a bunch of money on advertising before they've nailed it. And so ideally you want to figure out what you do better than anybody else in your market. What problem are you solving for your ideal customer and who that ideal customer is, and then step on the gas.
Definitely. And you said earlier, a lot of people used to get their lawn care service through Google. Google does the star system, the 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever like that. Facebook does the same thing. You can rate people on Facebook. Do you have some kind of marketing schematic like that for Joe's Lawn Care? Is a 4-star recipient or something like that?
Yes, everybody's familiar with the 5-star rating. You see it everywhere now, whether it be hotels, restaurants, you name it, and we're all accustomed to that. And that's a good way to understand who's good and who's not. But we needed to go beyond that. We needed to go beyond just a standard rating. We needed to really figure out who were the reliable services and who weren't the so reliable services, because that's what we were delivering. And we couldn't just rely on qualitative feedback from homeowners. We actually started to score these services on how often do they actually show up on the day they're supposed to. If they're supposed to be there on Wednesday, how often do they show up on Wednesday? And then we score them because we know, because they complete the appointment on our platform. And then we rate them based on that reliability rating. We also know how often they were booked for a second, third, and fourth visit, because it's all happening on our platform. And we're able to use that as kind of a passive indicator. You know, is this a good service or not? Are they getting booked over and over and over again? Or are they just getting booked for like one and done all the time, which might indicate that they're not that great? And so we're able to use these data points to promote and surface the high performing service providers, the elite ones, and demote and sometimes even expel the ones that just aren't so good. They're not taking the business very seriously.
And you mentioned data points there. And I know data is important in every business, and making things grow is the best thing to do in business. We already talked about how you stayed at the Glass Joe level, but how did you use data to start your growth as a company?
Yeah, you know, the thing with data is it's a weird thing, because you can jump to it too quickly and then waste a bunch of time because you don't have enough of it. And then you cannot go back to it when you need to. And then you're just like shooting from the hip and making big decisions about the business based on opinions. And somebody once told me and said, you know, if we're gonna make this decision based on opinions, then we might as well use mine. But if we're gonna make it on data, then let's just let the data speak. And so when you getting to a point where you have enough data to measure certain things and test certain things and let the data drive the decision making, then that's great. But the problem is you need like thousands of data points to make a statistically valid decision. Otherwise, you might get a false positive and it'll steer you down the wrong path. And what a problem I see a lot of new founders make is like they'll go right to testing and data analysis when they have like 10 customers. And I'm like, you don't need to do testing and data analysis. You need 100 more customers. You need to pass out some flyers. You're on Glass Joe level, my man. We need to take this back to like hand-to-hand combat and then worry about the data. So we've made that mistake in the early days. I think in levels 1, 2, and 3, and 4 of the game, metaphorically, whatever that means, I think you need to rely on a lot of gut instinct, intuition, what your customers are telling you, that data, the qualitative data, emailing them, soliciting feedback from them, meeting them at a Starbucks, belly to belly. What is it about my product do you like? What is it that you don't like? Using that data to drive your decision making. And then once you have hundreds and maybe thousands of customers, measuring things and then letting the actual quantitative data speak as in terms of what is the right decision and what's the wrong decision.
A question that came in the chat from Steven. He was with me at NASCAR this last weekend. He asked, do you, when people put ratings in the app or send you a comment about someone's lawn service that was provided to them, do you talk to them and say, hey, tell me what went wrong so I can actually talk to the other person? Or is it just you take their word for it?
Yeah. So what we try to do is if something went wrong from the consumer standpoint, we try to get them set up with another service provider that can take care of them. Now, we can't service and take care of every customer's expectations. And quite frankly, there's about 5% of consumers that just aren't good fits for the platform. And so we kindly have to deplatform them and send them on their way with a few other places that they can go check out, because it's not a good fit for everybody. Same thing on contractor side. It's not a good fit for every contractor in the business. So we have to quickly figure out, who is a good fit for and who is not. In the early days, it was a lot of ping pong back and forth. The first 500 service providers that used the platform had my cell phone number, and I would talk to them 7 days a week. The first 1,000 homeowners that use it had my cell phone number. And so a lot of it was hand cranking and ping ponging back and forth. But as time went on, we that we have thousands of these transactions occurring every day, we've had to scale through these things. And so if somebody leaves a 1-star review, we'll send them an email and say, hey, sorry things didn't go so well. If you'd like, take another spin, get some other quotes and see if you can get hooked up with another service provider. Just to reiterate, here's what's included in the service and here's what to expect. And then as vendors are using the platform, it's our job to kind of be a coach, if you will, in their pocket. Okay, it's like, okay, hey, you're in the lower 50% of other lawn care services in Clarksville, and you might want to think about these sorts of things to boost your ratings, these sorts of things to get positive ratings, and kind of little by little coach them. In terms of like the old days of getting on the phone with every single person that leaves a bad review, we just don't have the bandwidth to do it with the thousands of transactions that we now have. But in the early days, we had to understand how to scale it, understand what the systems needed to look like.
So when someone applies to be on the platform from the contracting side, how do you approach them and see if you think they're a good fit?
Well, what we used to do, the first, like I said, 500,000, it was a face-to-face interview. I know the inside of every Starbucks in Nashville, Atlanta, and Tampa, Florida. Those were our first 3 markets. And so I've literally been to all of them because I would meet with contractors and look over their equipment and get a customer reference from them and really belly to belly onboard them onto the platform. And a couple of reasons why we did that. One, we had to make sure these people were damn good, because it was like a bet the business decision every month. It was like, okay, we're launching our second market, we're launching our third market. If this doesn't go well, the company's out of business. So we had to really curate that by hand. But also, we didn't know what the systems needed to be. As we started doing it, we came to find out a face-to-face interview wasn't necessary. That was overkill. So we were able to kind of peel that back. And then we started to understand, well, you know what? Like, we used to require all this commercial equipment, like $50,000 of equipment. But as it turns out, especially like in Florida, the yards are so damn small, you can use a push mower. So we had to like adjust that, and so there was all of these like little tweaks that we made to where now we have a pretty streamlined process of self-serve onboarding yourself, which is all you got to do is you sign up, you upload some pictures of your equipment, you go through a little bit of a check to make sure that you are who you say you are. You upload your banking details so we can make sure that you get paid on time. And then it's basically an audition period. How you perform over the first couple of times you get hired is going to dictate if you're able to stay on the platform or not. So let's say you get hired, it's your first transaction, and it's for next Tuesday, and you don't show up on next Tuesday, and you're not there on Wednesday. Well, then you're out. It's like we have a waiting list in most markets, and so that first audition is a way that we kind of screen out the people that aren't really serious. And then as time goes on, the first like 20, 30, 40 transactions, as you build up trust with the system, we're able to score you and figure out who's reliable, who isn't, who we're going to send bid opportunities to, and who we're not. And through a system standpoint, we're able to do this in a self-serve kind of way. But in the early days, it was very much hand cranking it face to face, and then figuring out what the systems needed to look like.
Awesome. Kind of let's transition a little bit to the entrepreneurial side of your life here. When you're building this company, and of course, when you had your lawn care business prior, what kind of skills did you look for in employees that you brought in and qualities to make you understand that you're going to have a successful business there, and maybe for the audience, those entrepreneurs out there, how they can build their brand?
Yeah. So in terms of who you're hiring to bring onto your team, the first employee or two are also kind of bet the company decisions, because if you hire the wrong person and then don't, you don't prune them out if they're not a good fit. I mean, I've seen that stall out more businesses than anything, is getting that hiring wrong. What I look for is I honestly look for people with a chip on their shoulder, somebody who has something to prove, who's got something inside of them that they really want to be more and do more, and that the business, the profession is part of that. Whatever they do is part of that. And that's kind of how I am, how I'd like to describe myself is I had a chip on my shoulder when I started this business. And so I look for those types of things because it's a good cultural fit. And I've learned that you can't motivate unmotivated people. All you can do is hire motivated people and make sure you don't demotivate them. And people listening to this might say, well, of course I wouldn't demotivate my people. Well, you might be, and you just don't know it. Maybe you don't have tight processes. You don't have tight systems. You don't have good objectives in place as to what success looks like for their role or not. They're not getting the leadership they need from you, or the personal development they need from you. And so maybe that is how you're demotivating them. So a lot of this is introspective stuff. One of the best exercises in personal development you can do is start a damn business. And even if it's just a lawn mowing business with a handful of employees, you'll learn more about leadership and management and personal development doing that than you will in most endeavors, because nobody teaches us how to do this stuff. Maybe the military does, but I don't know of many places that teaches you basics of leadership and how to be a good leader and how to be a good manager and what the difference is between the two, other than just doing it and learning from mistakes and getting better and better.
Definitely. And there's always that age-old question: is leadership, are you born with leadership, or are you taught leadership? And I think it's a combination of both. Everyone has something in them that has that little fire that wants to be in charge of something. But then it's lessons learned along the way that really promote you to propel you to higher levels. Like you said, when you started your lawn care business, it was probably learning a little bit on the fly, even though you had some leadership from your dad being military, teaching you military lifestyle. But then having employees that didn't have the same go get them as you did, to get them to stay motivated, to get up every morning, early in the morning, depending on where you were mowing grass, to stay out of the heat and get out there every day and do it and show up on time. That's a leadership challenge, and for everyone that's doing that kind of business.
Absolutely. It's one of the hardest things about it. And if you can lead 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 people to go out and mow yards every day, that's a skill set you can take anywhere. And for me, I always tried to figure out where my people were trying to get to in life, whether it might be financial, it might be, trying to save up for a down payment for a home, or trying to put a kid through school, or trying to try to save up for college for themselves or whatever. Try to figure out where they're trying to get to and where the business fits with that. How can we get you where you're trying to go? And the only way to do that is to actually give a crap. You have to care, and there's no way to fake it. And it's hard work, and you can't turn your back on it for a day. You have to care about your people. You have to care about where they're trying to get to, and where does where does your organization fit into that?
Exactly. And since GreenPal is basically tech-based business, and most businesses now rely on word of mouth, but also through that social media monster that's grown. How important is social media to the growth of business, especially tech businesses, but all businesses?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's I think it's necessary for pretty much every business at every level in some shape or form. If you're a small business, you don't have to go nuts and be on every social media channel, but I think you do need to pick one or two, and you do need to start accumulating this evidence of what it is you do and why it matters and why you do it better than your competition. And it could just be the natural exhaust of the business you're repurposing into social media. So let's just say if you're a plumber, maybe you're just a one-man band, or maybe it's you and a helper. Maybe you make it the habit to post onto YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram every day one repair that you did, before and after. Okay, hey, now we're out here on Main Street. We're fixing a clogged up disposal. This brand usually causes this type of thing. We usually see this. Looks like it's out of warranty. Here's what we're going to do to replace it. Boom, boom, boom. You got to do the work anyway. It's going to take you literally 10 more minutes to film it and put it up. You do that every day. Next thing you know, you have this little flywheel where the exhaust of the business is now marketing content. And guess what? You wake up in a reality where you don't have to really worry about marketing anymore. So I think social media is a necessary aspect of pretty much every business that wants to sell to customers. You have to do it as a top of the funnel way to get the phone ring, but also as a validation type of thing. Like, again, if you're a plumber, let's say you're bidding on a $10,000 rehab project in the nice part of town. That person's going to maybe look you up on Facebook or look you up on the internet and see what they find. If they find all this rich content about your business and how you do business, then it's a no-brainer decision to hire you because you've accumulated all of these data points and this reputation. Versus if it's crickets, then it's a leap of faith for them. And why should it be? Make it easy. Make it easy for people to hire you.
Definitely. I've been, once I started the podcast, that learning all the different social media aspects and being found is the easiest way to get noticed, being found to be noticed.
Exactly.
The more you're out, like you said, the more you're out there, the more content you put out there. Even if you're that home repair person, just put, here's the roof before, here's the roof after, and a happy customer, maybe standing next to it smiling.
Yep.
That'll help out. That'll help out a ton. So we talked a lot of stuff, a lot about GreenPal, a lot about your entrepreneurial journey of hiring people. What advice would you give some of the entrepreneurs in the audience as they're starting their build their business? What advice would you give them? Maybe 3 tips.
Yeah, 3 tips. Okay, well, let's say you're first getting started. You have no customers. You don't know the first thing you're doing. You're scared. I've been there. It doesn't seem like it's working, and you're paralyzed with you don't know what to do. Well, I think it can be helpful to look at pretty much the whole thing as one big experiment of I'm going to try this thing and see if it works. And then I'm going to try this thing and see if it works. And then I'm going to try this way to get customers, see if it works. I'm going to try this little scheduling software thing. Maybe it might work. And have no expectation for anything working. And just look at it like action produces information. And then the information you get is going to lead you to the path of what the right thing to do is. So if you can look at it that way and treat everything as like kind of an experiment, then that can be helpful. The second thing is yeah, you're going to have to be an animal. Like, would somebody describe you as an animal? Like ask yourself that. And I don't mean like, oh, he's kind of got a long, weird neck. He's kind of like a giraffe. No, I mean like this dude's rabid for success, and like he calls back customers within 5 minutes, and he's always there on time, and he follows up with them. He's like an animal. I mean, he just wants it that bad. Like if somebody wouldn't genuinely describe you that way, then it's going to be tough because getting a business going from nothing is one of the hardest things I know of. The third thing is kind of three things. You have to make time to do three things at all times. And so if you take your week, you're going to have to do three things. You're going to have to work in your business. So let's just go back to the plumber example. You're going to have to answer phone calls, make appointments, show up, do the work, get paid, do the bookkeeping, make sure people are happy, make sure warranty work's getting done, making sure emails are getting returned, making sure vendors are paid. You're working in the business. The second thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to work on the business. What is my marketing strategy? What is my social media marketing strategy? And what is the standard operating procedure for posting to social every day? And what's the routine that I'm going through to make sure that that's working? And what is the bookkeeping system look like? Which one am I using? And is that the best one? And how often am I following up with customers to make sure that they're happy? And what is the customer satisfaction process? What does the employee training system look like? I'm working on that for a month or something like that. So you're working on the business. You got to spend at least a day a week in the early days doing that, or else you'll never get out of this like one-man band, self-employed paradigm. And then the third thing is you got to work on yourself. You're going to have to read books. You're going to have to listen to podcasts. You're going to have to, like, somebody comes up to you, hey, did you see that show on Netflix? I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't watched Netflix in 3 months. I've been watching YouTube on my TV, watching tutorials on how to do X, Y, or Z. You really got to work on yourself to acquire the skills you're going to have to acquire to play this game. So you're going to have to work in the business, on the business, and on yourself at all. Maybe the first couple of years is 5 days a week in the business, 1 day a week on the business, and then 1 day a week on yourself. You gotta make time for all three.
All that's great advice. I love that. Experiment, be an animal, work in the business, on the business, and probably the most important one of those three is on yourself to make sure that you're growing as your business grows with professional development. Bryan, that great advice right there.
Well, it's steeped in me doing all of them wrong at certain points, and also realizing that every business concern I've ever been in part of has always grown and stalled out to the point of my incompetence. And my dad used to talk about this all the time in the military, and he used to talk about that people were always promoted to their level of incompetence. And maybe he was saying it like in a joking way, but that's what he would tell me. And I think business is a lot like that. Every business stalls out to whatever your personal kind of growth has stalled out to, and you have to level up and grow and evolve alongside the business.
Exactly. And your dad's 100% right. A lot of people get promoted to their incompetence in the military. It's showing every day.
So he wasn't lying when he said that. Okay.
We laugh about it, but it's true. So Bryan, how does someone get in contact with you? Maybe either check out GreenPal or just get in contact with you.
Yeah, life's too short to be out in the hot sun mowing your own yard. So just go to greenpal.com and sign up if you want free quotes. Or if you're in the lawn business or want to be in the lawn business, just go to greenpal.com, scroll down to the bottom and sign up there to become a vendor. And anybody wants to hit me up, just find me on Instagram, Bryan M. Clayton. just drop me a DM there.
Awesome. Bryan, again, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us for the last 40 minutes here on the Misfit Nation. It's been a great chat, and you put out a lot of knowledge for the audience. I'm sure they appreciate it.
Rich, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com to catch up on all of our episodes and also to get some of that great Misfit Nation gear. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are